I went to go see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and it was fucking awesome, by the way, 10 out of 10. But I left the theater, and like my phone was just blowing up with all this crazy shit. Like, I can't even see a fucking
If it was
movie.
blowing up, you couldn't have looked at it, stupid.
Shit. And Nick Castle tweeted first, and Nick Castle's awesome follow on Twitter. You guys definitely gotta follow him. But he tweeted this: "You can't kill the boogeyman. Just heard the news. I'm coming back." And he's got this little picture of him cooking.
Yeah,
it's actually weird that he's coming back though, because the Halloween 2018 was meant to be as like a passing of the torch. It was just gonna be a couple cameo scenes, and he was gonna literally pass the torch to James Jude Courtney. But a couple weeks ago, he tweeted, he was like, "Hey guys, make a groundswell happen. I really want to come back." And lo and behold, he's coming back, and that's pretty cool. I'm happy for him.
But maybe they were thinking like, we want a completed arc of all the characters, and they were going to get back as many of the original ones as they could. So having Nick Castle on board makes total sense.
And he's the one who broke the news about James Jude Courtney, because he tweeted here, he said, "I'll be returning, but you know, Big Game James still got the torch more later." So that everybody was so worried about that. And I saw all these fans that were lucky enough to go to these conventions, and they were tweeting us saying, "I'll ask him about it." He would say, "I can't talk about it." But if he's saying I can't talk about it, it's almost like a hint, like, yeah, I'm gonna be there. But all the shit that I've heard talked about Halloween 2018, everybody loved James Jude Courtney, man, and he did a great job, and I'm so happy for him, and I'm so happy for us and fans of the franchise that we're going to get a Michael to play Michael 2, most likely 3 times.
Yeah, James Jude Courtney, for sure, like, he was dedicated to the craft of being the badass Michael Myers that he was. I haven't seen a performance like that since Nick Castle in the first one, and the way that he moved, the way that he studied Nick Castle's movements, and he wanted to make sure that he got the best perfect Michael Myers for all to see, and especially the fans, shows you how dedicated he is to his craft, and the fact that he is an actor. I mean, you can go back and look at hundreds of stories about people that just say, well, we can just throw it on a stuntman and they can do whatever, and they walk around like fucking Frankenstein with a, enema shoved up their butthole. Like, well, it's deep. And it's like, ooh, I'm gonna kill you. And it's like, it's not gonna work on camera. Like they did that with Robert Englund when they replaced him in part 2 with just a stunt guy, and they thought it was just a mask they could throw on, he could run around. It was awful. Yeah. So the fact that James Jude Courtney was that motivated to be the very best Michael Myers that he could be and give us all that performance is by and far the best thing that we could have got from any person that portraying that role. Tyler Mane also did a really good job with Michael Myers as well, but nonetheless.
Main reasons that we should all be really jacked up to the fucking tits about these sequels. You've got all these important pillars of what makes a Halloween movie great, and if you have those in place, all you need is a great fucking story and good direction, and it's gonna knock it out of the park. Some other news that happened is Ryan Turek, on the, as you guys know, he's on the Shockwaves podcast, and he did a podcast with the guys, and he was only on there for a few minutes because he had to go actually start to work on pre-production for the Halloween movies. But they dropped a tiny little tidbit in there when he said David has always had something rattling in the back of his brain. Him and Danny always had an idea for kind of an arc, and it's a wild arc. It's crazy. And David Gordon Green also backed him up in an article, an interview on Slash Film, where he said, "It's just a continuing story that's got a beginning, a middle, and an end. I'm excited to begin it. The middle is chaos, and the ending is very satisfying." So apparently,
It's like sex.
when you put these things together, what they're saying is, I feel like Halloween Kills is going to be bananas, and there's going to be some crazy shit that happens in there. What's it going to be? I don't know. Jamie Lee Curtis is going to die. They're going to have a crazy, who knows what the fuck's going to happen, but all the news coming out hints at the fact that Halloween Kills is going to be nuts.
Now you want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts.
I like that. Like, it's cool. That's what you got. You gotta have fun with the story, and they've done such a bang up job with Halloween 2018. I have full confidence in them going forward, especially with the arc they probably have in mind. The only thing I don't want them to do is too close. Don't get too close, okay? You keep yourself in corner. Is take his mask off and have him running wild when imagine an ending moment where Jamie pulls his mask off. And it's him, and he's looking at her, and then you see this, moment where they stand face to face, brother and sister, not really brother and sister, and they have this moment where he just fights, and then they kill each other, and his mask is like, don't do that, that's too much.
Yeah.
Keep his mask on. I don't care if it's melted in his face, that motherfucker's got like Mardi Gras beads on it, if it's like, I don't care, I want it on his face for always and all the good times.
I think what we can expect with the movie that's coming up, which is really exciting because it's what's coming up soonest, is that Halloween Kills is going to have some gnarly shit in it, man. And that's fucking cool, and that excites me a lot. And if you're going to do that, that's the way to do it, right? If it's called Halloween Kills, that's the movie you want to make be a little bit crazy. I've been known for getting a little crazy with the stick. Moving forward, we're going to touch on this really fast because our buddy Jimmy Champagne is doing a video, and we actually filmed a clip for that to put in his video, so definitely go check that out on his channel. But the whole Danielle Harris thing, just to touch on it real quick, if you guys don't know, she said a lot of stuff through tweets. She said, she started with this tweet where she said, wow, 2 more Halloween movies and no mention of Jamie Lloyd. So weird to me that she was just non-existent, right? I don't know, maybe she just died in Halloween 6.
I taste bitter cucumbers from your mouth.
That tweet's very, very confusing because the way that they did Halloween 2018 was that film's already there. It's already happened. They've already just put in stone that Jamie Lloyd is not a part of that. Now, how you feel about that's how you feel about that, but it's already going. Like, we've already retconned those sequels, so Jamie Lloyd is obviously not a part of them. So it seems like what she's asking for in this is that obviously she can't come back as Jamie Lloyd, but it seems like what she's wanting is them to make another character for her to come back as an actress, as a nod in the film. And as you guys know, they already did that in Rob Zombie's film. So to bring Danielle Harris back a third time as a third different character, it would be a little bit weird. And they already have their vision for these movies, so I don't really blame Blumhouse for not including her in these scripts or whatever, but I do understand how she feels because, as you guys know, she got really screwed over in Halloween 6, and Jamie Lee Curtis has always been kind of cold to her. They've never really given her the respect she deserves. So while I understand how she feels, this time right now that she's putting out these tweets, really, it's just not going to do any good.
I think you're great. Mike thinks you're great. A lot of people love the character of Jamie Lloyd. However, it's obvious, like when they were doing the press tour when 2018 came out, no movies exist after the second one. There's no movies
After the first one,
or after the first one. I mean, so there is nothing there to even latch onto. There was no linchpin to hold on to be like, well, maybe we can write you in. They can't do anything, and I do like the fact that you said died because it was a shitty fucking death that they did to Jamie Lloyd.
You got wronged, and we got
Halloween 6. But nonetheless, I mean, it still happened, and that's the way it is until somebody goes back and fix that, which is a possibility after we're done with this arc. Because again, the franchise isn't going to end after they're done doing this. I mean, they're going to go on and move on with different directors and moving forward. So there is a good possibility that, I mean, personally, yeah, it would be cool to see Jamie Lloyd come back and you know, and do something with that character outside of what they did to it in Halloween 6. But at this point, the rage fit's just not doing anything.
I've always wanted Jamie Lloyd to get her due. You know, I've always wanted that. And I would love to see, as you guys, if you guys read some of the articles I've done, I would love to see them to remake Halloween 4 or make a Halloween 5 follow-up. And that's unlikely, I know, because it's all confusing or whatever. But I would love for someone going forward in this franchise to take that awesome character that she was in 4 and 5, because she was great. She's one of the best child actresses I've ever seen, and I felt like she carried those movies, and she deserves a lot of praise for what she did there, and she doesn't get it. But at the same time, this is just not the right time for it. And our last piece of news today is it's a fucking wild one, guy.
It's a scream, baby.
So, Collider has a new podcast called The Snyder Cut, where this guy Jeff Snyder, who works with Collider, has a I
got really excited when you said, I thought you meant Zack Snyder cut from the Justice League.
Still want to see it.
What the fuck is going on there, sir?
But he was on there on his new podcast in the first episode of it with a reporter from Variety, Justin Kroll, and he dropped Halloween.
I hear they do a
news.
variety of news.
They do. It's a big deal.
It's crazy.
But he dropped some Halloween news, and basically what he said was that he found out that Halloween, the new Halloween movies, were looking to cast Tommy Doyle to bring him back into the franchise. And what's really exciting about that is they actually thought of Paul Rudd, but they realized, unfortunately, that his Ghostbusters schedule would make it to where that's a non-possibility, and that could not happen. And going forward, the other guy was like, well, maybe it could still happen when he gets done with Ghostbusters. And what he said was, he's like, no, I've heard basically from 2 different people that they've actually asked someone else to do it at this point. So where we stand right now is it's not going to be Paul Rudd, most likely.
But Tommy Doyle will be in.
There's a chance that the Tommy Doyle character will come back.
For people that watched Halloween 6 and follow that continuity, then it'd be like, what? I mean, so that's Tommy Doyle from part 6, like, and then now he exists now.
I see what you're saying.
You know, I mean, it's, like, you'd be reading a lot into it. I understand, and you have to suspend, you know, imagination in some of these things. But at the same time, I would be like, I mean, you're mixing some poopy here. I don't know, because it's kind of weird, because it's like you're throwing some shit in here. Because then at that point, you're like, well, you could have thrown Danielle Harris in there.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, like. Not that it wouldn't have been cool, and it's a cute little like nod to fans of Halloween 6, but how many We loved Halloween 6. I mean, there is a love for Halloween 6. Don't get me wrong, but it's for the most part, The Curse of Michael Myers was not well received at all. So it's not exactly one of those, slam dunk fucking moves for a studio to say, well, we'll throw Tommy Doyle that Paul Rudd played in a Halloween 6 movie that nobody really gave a shit about.
And again, I don't think he would have had a prominent role. I think it's going to be more of a cameo thing. For me personally, I would go, I know that it's weird because, like, okay, you retcon the sequels, but he was on it. But for me, I'm like, it's a movie, whatever. Paul Rudd's coming back to play Tommy Doyle, that's fucking rad. And it'd be badass to see Paul Rudd in a Halloween movie today. And that would just amp up the excitement of the movie.
Somebody in a straw hat, be like, I saw the boogeyman.
If it was, if they did get Paul Rudd to do it, I think that would be fucking cool. And just because we love Halloween 6 so much,
that's what it is.
Just me personally as a fan, I would dig the shit out of that. But that's probably not going to happen.
They may have a significant role for Tommy Doyle because you're not going to go after Paul fucking Rudd for a small role. He's not going to do it. Like, it's Paul Rudd now. At this point, Paul Rudd is a very good, hardcore, on the uprise actor. No, I mean, because I mean,
but Paul Rudd has done movies with he's had several movies with David Gordon Green before, and they're friends. So for him to show up and be like a quick little role wouldn't be that big.
It may not, but I mean, at the same time, it just feels like they were gonna, because if it was just for that reason alone, they wouldn't have approached another person to do the Tommy Doyle character. So I think the Tommy Doyle character will have more to do with the sequels than we think.
Let's get nuts.
But another thing I do want to mention about this podcast is if you listen to it, they start talking about Halloween at about the 14-minute mark of the podcast. And these two guys, they don't know who Tommy Doyle is. If you just listen to it, the guy's like, no, and one guy was like, oh, he was in part 5. He was in part 5. That was the only movie in. And the other guy was like, oh, well, he definitely wasn't in the original movie. They don't know who Tommy Doyle is. So you got to take that news, and I'm not even trying to throw shade, but you have to take that news with a grain of salt. We love your fucking faces. If you're new to the channel, click that subscribe button. We're going to have all the Halloween news going for both fucking movies all the way up until the end of it. So make sure you subscribe, you click that bell. We love your fucking face. If you're new to the channel, click that subscribe button and get some goddamn wham up in you.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Yeah.
Just fucking do it.
All the way.
Coffee in the morning.
Let's go to Milwaukee and have a brew. By the way, Mike, are we going to continue talking about the Halloween movie with Jamie Lee Curtis? Wasn't she famous from Freaky Friday? I don't think that she was in the first one at all.
I can't wait until Jason pops up.
Jason, I think you're thinking of Pumpkinhead. Are you serious?
We watched a movie. Yeah. We watched a movie. We watched it. We watched a movie. Yeah. You know what? We did a review. We watched a movie. We watched a movie.